My name is Eleni Simitopoulos. Could you please introduce yourself with first name, last name, your age, your year in school, and just like where you're from? Awesome. So, can you tell me about how long you've been swimming for and what your journey has looked like with the sport so far? Thank you. And so that's kind of your journey with club. What would you say your journey with high school has been? I know you're only a sophomore, but what has that journey looked like? Hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, I agree with that as a past swimmer myself. I agree that the high school team is a lot more of a team environment and it really helps balance the two. So, I'm very glad to hear. Yes. Mhm. Mhm. I'm very glad to hear that you feel the same way as I did. So, you've already kind of answered this question with your past answer to the last question, but and the question was, how big of a role has swimming played throughout your life? So, since you've already kind of talked about how big of a role it has played, like in the past until now, what would you say that the role that it's playing right now, like the amount of time it's taking up from your weeks, um, like how much of an importance it has to you, all those kind of things? Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of time. 20 hours, that's almost a full day that you're spending in the water. But I mean, clearly it is paying off. Clearly it's paying off. So that's great to hear. And so Following up with that, so I know that as of this past weekend, you are now a UIL Texas 5A state champion in swimming and diving. So major congrats on that. So I'm so happy for you. If you could only use one word to describe how you felt the moment you realized that your team won, what word would you use and why? Or even if you can't even pick one, pick like one, two, three, because I know there must have been so many emotions going through. Yeah, it was a gut feeling. That's such an amazing moment, and I think that proud is the perfect word that you could use to describe something that crazy, and just such an amazing thing to be able to experience. So, this year, what were your expectations going into the high school swim season? Yeah, yeah, and clearly it paid off. Clearly the hard work paid off. Being flexible, being able to adapt, clearly that's something important to have. So you definitely showed a lot of flexibility, and I feel like that truly is the definition of taking one for the team. And so when you were starting this season, going along with the expectations that we talked about, was the idea of being a state champion even like up in the air for your team? I know you said that you had a feeling within yourself, but was that an idea that was up in the air for your team? Awesome. Yeah, that's definitely a great motivator to have. Um, and it's amazing that y'all could keep that momentum. It definitely created some momentum throughout the season, a lot of motivation. Just being able to know that that's a possibility and such a big thing in a state like Texas and just so outstanding. So, as you're only a sophomore, where do you see yourself going with this sport for the rest of your high school career? You're okay. Yeah, exactly. And those are some big goals you have for yourself. And honestly, with the way things are going, I don't see there being an issue with you getting all of those goals that you have in your mind. So, we just talked about what goals you have for the rest of high school for the next 2 years after this. Do you have do you have an idea of where swimming could take you or if it would take you anywhere like into college or whatever would come after high school with that sport? Mhm. That makes total sense. Yeah, that makes total sense, and that's a very mature answer to have, especially not even being halfway through high school, being able to have that maturity and understand, "Hey, like, I can see myself being a college athlete, but I don't want that to dictate my entire life." It's just very mature to hear. So, I've talked about where you see yourself personal goals. Where do you see Reedy swim and dive as a whole going into the next year or two, or even after you're in high school? Do you see a state win being pulled off again, or was that kind of a one and done kind of thing? Yeah, and even if you have to fight a little harder, it's still having that in the back of your mind and having that motivation is very important. And so I've already talked about, excuse me, I've talked about um, how it felt in the moment that you won state, but could you tell me a little bit about what it's been like in the following hours, like after the win for the rest of that day, or even for like up leading up until now, have you felt like a shift in your life, especially, I don't know, at school? How has that been? Have y'all celebrated? Anything like that? Yeah. Yeah, a moment like that, just I feel like it takes a while to process how you truly feel, especially something that big. I had no idea there were 246 schools, and just like I bet in that moment being able to hear that you were at the top, it's just like it's probably a feeling like none other, I can imagine. Yeah. Have you done anything else special with your school or like with your swim team? Do you have anything planned in the future to celebrate this? Wow. Seize the moment, yes. Yes, thank you so much. I am so excited to see all that you guys have planned to celebrate this big win. Thank you so much for letting me interview you, and thank you for your time. Is there anything else you'd like to add? I agree. Anytime. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to have a state champion here with me. Thank you.